I hope you can hear me. And I'd like to welcome you to our one-time only 20th birthday party for Orca Network. It's been a long haul and huge changes, growths, outreach, developments, complications and confusions all along the way. But we're real happy with where we are now and who's working with us and who's on the team. And so we're going to celebrate 20 years of Orca Network, connecting whales and people in the Pacific Northwest. And here I am Howard Garrett and Susan Berta. We are co-founders and we always forget to introduce ourselves. So I just did it. Now that's accomplished and we're on to Susan to give the acknowledgement that we are on tribal lands.
Yes, and I also just want to thank everyone for being here. And it's appropriate we're doing this Thanksgiving week because I'm feeling thankful for all of you and all of us. But I'm most thankful for our tribal friends of the Coast Salish Nations, many who we have come to know very dearly and have worked with over the last few decades. We prefer to celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day. And we are thankful for their many, many generations of knowledge of the Salish Sea and our lands and our waters, and for their stewardship and their guidance and their spiritual presence. It just makes everything we do so much more meaningful and deeper and connected to the earth. And I also want us to hold them very close in our thoughts and our prayers and be respectful of the difficult times they're going through, not only with all the things we're all going through with climate change and declining salmon runs and the loss of our orca friends, but with the, finally current acknowledgement and investigations into the many deaths that happen to children who are in the native boarding schools that have been acknowledged in British Columbia and are just now being investigated here in the US. And it's a difficult time for all of us as we grapple with that sad part of our history. So we just want to hold them in our love and prayers and have the utmost respect for their presence in the Salish Sea and their knowledge and their ancestors and their beliefs of the orcas as their ancestors, and look forward to trying to right some of those wrongs and educate people about the amazing cultures that we have around us here with all the Coast Salish Nations and all the stewardship they do to keep the Salish Sea alive and to help preserve the salmon and the orcas for future generations for all of us. And we're sad that Rosie Caillou, who has been a part of many of our events, was unable to be here in person today due to the power outage and other things going on. So we have a recording of her doing a blessing to start us off today.
Okay, I've been honored once again this year to be an opener for the Orca Networks and for the orcas. You know that what we have out here is the kingdom of orcas, the kingdom of our ancestors. I want to sing a song for our ancestors here on this beautiful island of Lopez, which a lot of orcas call home as well. We wonder, where do they call home? They're like us. They have gathering villages. They have family to visit. So I'm going to sing a song to invite their spirits all over here. Invite their spirits into the bay here. Ask them to come and be one together with us on the sacred day that we honor them. Ya hey ya, ya hey ya ho, ya hey ya, ya hey ya hey ya hey yo. Ya hey ya, ya hey ya ho, ya hey ya, ya hey ya ho, ya hey ya. Ya hey ya hey ya hey yo. Oh ya hey ya ho. Ya hey ya. Ya hey ya ho. Ya hey ya. Ya hey ya hey ya hey yo. Oh ya hey ya oh. Ya hey ya. Ya hey ya oh. Ya hey ya. Ya hey ya hey ya hey yo. One day I got a call from Orca Network quite a few years ago. They were feeling very, very sensitive to the thought of a whale laying on a beach on Samish Island. We went out there to see if we could help. They requested us to come and look at the gray whale. Was it a gray whale? And we went out there, and the gray whale was way out in the tideland, like this, low water. And it was just laying there. And it was sad. Its spirit was sad. its body had died, but its spirit was sad. We couldn't find a place that didn't have no trespassing on it to get to the gray whale. We finally found a place where we could reach out and help the gray whale as she lay on her side, waiting for closure. We went out there. She was so close to humans, her family couldn't reach her. So far out in the mud on her side. We parked in this here area that clearly said no parking, but we had to get to her. When Sultan got off the vehicle to go out to see if he could feel her spirit, a man came out of his house, and we apologized quickly. And we were going to start to move, and he said, no, he says, you stay here. I don't know what you're doing, but it looks good because I see what you're looking at. And I've been too, looking at that all day. We finally was able to find a place that was comfortable for us to do the sacred work that needed to be done. And that was to lift her spirit and let her go like that. Entry right there. We lifted her spirit from her body and we let her go so she could have closure. And it's still very sad for him because he remembers traveling. His spirit traveled with that spirit of that whale. And that was way out in the water. I had to embrace him so he didn't go further. Once he escorted her out of the bay, her family came in, her spirit family, and they took her, taken her back to where the sacred place is, in the waters. When they did the necropsy on her, she had one shrimp shell and some sawdust, is what I was told. But her spirit was set free, and when she got out there with her spirit family, they fed her. So she was okay. That's some of what we hold on to. We hold on to that in our life, about how to take care of one another. I am very happy to do this on Lopez Island. I want to thank Madrona for inviting me here today. Thanks Cindy for being here. Aiska.
Thank you so much to Rosie and Bill for that blessing and that spiritual moment to help start our proceedings here. So now on a slightly lighter note, I'd like to introduce my brother Ken Balcom, who volunteered to sing a song for us for our birthday. So please enjoy this. It isn't seen often, and after Ken will be an actual folk singer. And I'll introduce Dana as well.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Orca Network. Happy birthday to you. And many more.
So that was Ken's blessing. And now I'd like to, thrilled to introduce Dana Lyons, environmental activist, folk singer, worked on so many campaigns, still is. And your Snake River Dam sign campaign is still making progress. We are turning the tide. So here is Dana.
Thank you, Howie, and good afternoon, everyone. Happy birthday. You're 20 years old. And, you know, some of you look more like 22, but but it's so exciting. I'm really honored to be here. Well, I was going to sing two kind of beautiful, sensitive songs about protecting animals. But then about 90 minutes ago, I learned I was going to be following Ken.
Yeah, he's a tough act to follow.
Well, you know, you got to, in showbiz, you got to know when you're beat. You know, you got to know. There's some acts that cannot be followed. So I changed my set list a little bit. The second song I sing will be a what I hope to be a beautiful, sensitive song about protecting animals. The first song is a very famous love song, and really, the celebration, in its broadest sense, you know, obviously we want to protect the orca and the whales and the seals and all the life in the sea and the Salish Sea. But really, this is a celebration of love because of our love for the sea creatures that share our lives and our neighborhoods and in our area, and our love for each other and the incredible camaraderie and friendship we have on the Orca Network team. I mean, this is a remarkable group, and I've worked with many, many different environmental groups for many years, and the Orca Network is very unique. It's very grassroots. It's very big, and everyone's involved. Cindy and I were talking earlier, and I think my favorite thing is everyone can email or phone in when you spot the orcas, and that creates this giant family of orca lovers, and we can all kind of, oh, they're over here, oh, they're over there, but it's so beautiful. So anyway, this is my love song, and I'll give you a little trivia question. This song is, in my experience, this is not real science, this is Dana science, but in my experience, this is the most well-known song in the English-speaking world amongst all generations. So, you know, ages 5 years old to 105. This is the best known song in the English-speaking world, in my experience. People know the most words, they can sing along. You can take a couple seconds to guess what this might be. I'll give you one hint. It is not a Beatles song, okay? That's your one hint. Okay, you can choose what you think, but this is, in my experience, from New York City to the heart of Indian country in Alaska, to Ireland, to Australia, and beyond the English-speaking world. This song is so huge. Okay, here we go. And we can sing it together. Love is a burning thing, and it makes a fiery ring. Bound by wild desire, I fell into a ring of fire. Here we go. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, 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 that ring of fire, that ring of fire. Okay, Orca Network out there, you know, those of us who are panelists, you can see us, but the rest of us are in the privacy of our own homes. You can let loose. You can grab your imaginary microphone. You can air guitar it. Okay, let's do the Johnny Cash. Here we go. I fell into a burning ring of fire. Sing along where we can't hear each other. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, 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 that ring of fire, that ring of fire. The taste of love is sweet when hearts like ours meet. I fell for you like a child, but oh, that love went wild. Here we go. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went, and it, that, one more time. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went
Down, down, down.
and the flames went higher, and it burns, 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 ring of fire, that ring of fire. Last time I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher, and it burned, burns, burns, that ring of fire, that ring of. One more time, I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went high, and it burns, 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 that ring of fire, that ring of fire, that ring of fire, that ring of fire. Thank you. Yes, Johnny Cash, in my experience, the best known song in the English speaking world amongst all generations, written by June Carter, Johnny Cash's wife. What a beautiful honoring that we had earlier. And right after, well, actually after this next song, I actually have two shows today. I've had one show in the last 21 months, and today I have two. But that's the era we live in. And I'm actually going down. The Lummi orca and salmon activists are putting on an endangered species rally here in Bellingham, and so I'll be going down and singing a couple songs at that. I'm really thankful to be doing that, and a big reason that we have a chance of protecting our beautiful resident orcas, and that we have a chance of really removing the Snake River dams and getting the orca more food is because of our coalition with the First Nations, with the Native American nations, with the Lummi team, and indeed Native people from all across Washington state and our entire region. It's a big deal that a lot of the traditional leaders are speaking out to remove the lower Snake River dams. I'm really thankful for that. And slow but sure, yeah. One ugly yard sign at a time. Yes, thanks for mentioning that, Howie. This next song is called The Great Salish Sea And this is written from the perspective of Granny, who was the matriarch of the Southern residents. I think Granny passed on maybe 5 years ago. I'm sure this team knows precisely. But Granny was the matriarch for a long time. Orcas can live to be, over 100 years old, especially these days, females. But when you think about my friend Stephanie Buffum, she suggested this story. She said, write a song from Granny's perspective. And she said, just imagine what Granny has seen over the last century. Like, she's old enough that she saw the tail end of the whale slaughter, in the late 1800s or the early 1900s. She saw the arrival of these giant ships. She saw when the main way of traveling on the water were the big dugout cedar canoes. She saw the arrival of motor boats and heard that. And so to write from her perspective over time, that's what I wrote this song. But I'll dedicate this to our relatives, the Orca, and to all of our team here at the Orca Network. What a joy to have worked with you all for so long, and we'll just keep on working, because we got a couple more things to do before everything's perfect. I mean, just job security. But happy birthday, and I'll finish this song and head on down to sing with the Lummi Orca Salmon team. We will swim 1,000 miles to reach the shores of Emerald Isles, with salmon spawning by the million, herring spawning by the billion. Gather with our pods again, the summer food, the summer friends, to raise our babies safe and free. We gather in the sailish sea. Oh, hush, hear the swish of the boats on the water, the hollowed out cedars, the sons and the daughters, the rhythm of paddles caressing the water, the rhythm of paddles to come greet the Orca. Remember the legend, the myth, and the story a long time ago, when we witnessed the glory with thousands and thousands whales swimming free. The orcas come home to the great Salish Sea. Oh, I hear your song for many miles, your distant thoughts, your distant smiles. Today we fish in different bays. Tonight we meet again to play. Oh, hush, hear the swish of the boats on the water, the great sailing ships with the sons and the daughters, the wind and the wood as it cuts through the water, the wind and the wood sailing out to the Orca. Remember the legend, the myth, and the story a long time ago, when we witnessed the glory with thousands and thousands whales swimming free. The orcas come home to the great Salish Sea. Oh, 100 times around the sun, I saw the slaughter, smelled the blood, the water turning blue to brown, the metal ships, the screaming sound. I cannot hear your song today. The salmon gone, the herring late, and more the ships still come. Will anybody hear my song? Oh, hush, hear the scream of the ships on the water, the great super tankers, the coal ports, the freighters, the deafening noise overtaking the water, the deafening noise overcoming the orca. Remember the legend, the myth, and the story a long time ago, when we witnessed the glory with thousands and thousands of whales swimming free. The orcas come home to the great Salish Sea. Oh, hush, hear the voice from both sides of the border, the rallies, the blockades, the brave sons and daughters, the people speak out for protecting the water. The people are rising to come save the orca. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Dana.
you.
Thank you, Dana.
Well, so nice to see you. Here's a big air hug across.
Air hugs.
Yes. I miss you so much.
I'll give you a real hug soon.
Yeah.
One day
yeah,
soon.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your beautiful music and all you do. I remember hearing you at a Storming the Sound many, many years ago before it was the first time I met you. And I was just like, oh my God, this guy is doing what, it's wonderful.
Singing our song.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
indeed.
thankful to have you in our circle and have you here today. Means a lot.
Thank you.
And have fun this afternoon and this evening.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's going to be colder than this show.
Yeah. Dress warm, warm.
Yeah, we'll get out there and move that needle.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks so much,
Bye,
Dana.
Bye.
Hey, now we're going to have Elisa Lemire Brooks, our whale sighting coordinator, talk about a little auction we're going to try to do here. So it's a silent auction, except for this part, because she has to tell you about it or you won't know it's there. Thanks, Elisa.
Thanks, Susan. Hi, y'all. Just wanted to say thank you so much for your support in all manner of ways. And this is one other way that we can raise funds to continue the work that we all do, us here as staff and all our volunteers and all of you out there that contribute to this network of whale lovers. So I'm going to screen share here the 4 items that we have up for auction. We're going to ask that you put your bids in the chat. Jill Hine, our board member there, she'll be collecting them. But so if you want to put make sure that you list the item that you're bidding on and the amount that you're bidding in that comment, because maybe someone will bid a little bit higher and then you'll want to bid a little bit higher anyhow. So the item you're bidding on and the amount in each comment. So appreciate your support, and I'm going to share this and hope it works out. Let's see. How's that looking? Yeah. Let move this. Okay, the first one there is this beautiful orca table. Can a staff mate just let me know that you can hear me and see this? Okay. And so this beautiful table is carved from old growth cedar that fell and was presented to Leo, who then presented this as a gift to us, Orca Network and the Langley Whale Center, to help raise funds to continue the work that we're all doing to preserve the orcas of the Pacific Northwest. Opening bid is $4,000 and it's gorgeous, hand carved. The next item, this is a photo of one of the members of the T-65As who was in Henderson Bay Carr Inlet in South Puget Sound this past April. Flying orca, and it's a metal photo print by sightings contributor volunteer Ingrid Shumway. And the opening bid for this metal print, oops, sorry, I didn't put the size. It's a 16 by 20 and it's $200. Let's see, opening bid, yeah, $200. All right, next one is a gift basket put together by our staff at the Langley Whale Center. You get some socks in there and shirt and some mugs and a bag of coffee to keep you going and warm on these cold days, and a bracelet made by our Whales not network, our Langley Whale Center assistant manager Jeannie's sister Penny, in dedication to J2 Granny. So opening bid on that, the gift basket is $110. And our last item up for bid is our Orca Network memorabilia collection, and it includes our Orcas in Our Midst, volumes 1, 2, and 3. They're really beautiful, informative, and lots of great stories and information in there. Some original Free Lolita posters and Save Lolita, Fragile Waters DVD, and a few other items. And that opening bid is $100. So again, if you can put your bids in the chat, Jill will collect those and we'll say more later. All right, thanks everyone.
Thanks, Elisa. Now, Stephanie is going to talk about our trivia contest that's going on. We also have some prizes for that. Penny Raymond, our new program coordinator.
Okay, hello everyone. So yes, we have some trivia questions that we're going to sprinkle through the event today. And so I'll ask the question and I will also post it in the chat should go to all participants. Everybody should see it. And the first person to type the correct answer into the chat will receive a special prize from the Orca Network archives. So you don't know what you're getting, but it'll have an orca on it and it'll be great. Okay, so our first question today is, Orca Network placed 2 whale bells on Whidbey Island. Where are they located?
Oh my God.
And Bonnie Gretz wins right away. Congratulations, Langley and Coopville. The correct answers for that question. Okay, second question today. What are the 2 species of whales that are regularly seen in the Salish Sea who eat herring? And Emma says, oh, Bonnie again gets it right with humpbacks and minke whale. Emma said gray whale and humpback. Gray whales are bottom feeders. So when they are here, they're eating ghost shrimp and not herring, but good try, Emma, thank you. And finally, our last question for this round of trivia, and hint, this is not a whale-related question. What is a puffling?
Puffin.
A baby puffin. Emma got that one right this time. All right. So thank you, Bonnie and Emma. Congratulations. And we'll have round 2 of our trivia questions in a little while.
Okay, next, Cindy Hansen, our education and advocacy coordinator, who's hiding behind our logo. She will hopefully show her face at some point today. She's juggling computers and screens and has put together a great slideshow of somebody else's 20th birthday, that it's not just Orca Network's birthday, but there's 3 special orcas who are also celebrating their 20th year this year. So we wanted to show a little happy birthday of them. Next, I think we have some birthday video messages coming up. He's working on getting those. And while she's doing that, I just want to thank all of our hardworking staff, which we will be introducing soon, for all their work putting this all together. We're so blessed to have all the great people we have working with us and all the amazing volunteers who help us do everything we do.
Hey, this is Allie Hudek. I was introduced to Orca Network back in 2001 by Cindy Hansen, who was working as a naturalist on a whale watching boat that I was working on. And I had grown up as a dock rat in the San Juans with a family of divers. The orcas were just a part of life. And while I always felt connected to them growing up, I didn't really understand the challenges they would be facing or what amazing beings they really are. Orca Network really helped me open my eyes to the fact that I could be out there helping them, not just on the sidelines enjoying their company. And it's been a huge inspiration and honestly a huge part of my journey as my career and personal development are concerned. The friends I've made as part of the Spotting Network and the experiences I've had working with the Stranding Network have all been life-changing and a huge blessing. So thank you to Orca Network for all that you do. And yeah, you help the whales and the people who love them. So keep up the good work and congratulations on 20 years. Bye.
Hello, my name is Bart Rulon. I'm a wildlife photographer and also a naturalist with Puget Sound Express whale watching. And I have also contributed a lot of photos and data to whale research organizations over the years. Orca Network started a year after I became very involved with the whales. So I started really getting involved in the year 2000. So they grew up at the same time I was spending a lot of time with these whales. I certainly keep an eye on sightings reports on Orca Network a lot, and then I also contribute a lot of sightings back to Orca Network's Facebook page in kind. And I just wanted to say congratulations on your 20th birthday. You are an incredibly valuable tool for whale research and for those of us who love seeing the whales. So look forward to the next 20 years out there with you.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Norman, and I'm a marine mammal veterinarian, and I've had the pleasure of working with Orca Network for the past 20 years plus, and I can't say enough good things about them. They've definitely inspired me and impressed me in how they are able to connect whales and other marine life with people. And I've done necropsies for them over the years, attended to sick animals, and they've always been a joy to work with, and I really, really admire all the hard work they've put into the organization over the years and making it such a great resource for individuals who are interested in our marine mammals. So thank you again, and I wish you guys a very happy birthday and hope for another 20 plus more. Have a great day. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kelly Zupich, and I'm the Executive Director for Soundwater Stewards and a longtime Soundwater Steward volunteer. When I took the training back in 2012, I remember the day that Orca Network, came and spoke to our class, and then also talking about the Marine Mammal Stranding Network. I found it so fascinating that there was opportunities for people to be able to actually be involved with helping the marine mammals in our area, and especially our beloved orcas. And I think one of the things that I've learned, especially from the education and the things that Orca Network has been involved in, is I've learned to have a greater level of empathy for these creatures, realizing how intelligent they are, and also coming to realize that intelligence by our standards is not necessarily the measure that we should be using. And I think that our orcas are magical creatures that are, basically at this point, unfortunately in a really dire situation. And I think it helps further the story and the work because they are such an iconic creature. And so I have dedicated my life to trying to help them among, all the other wonderful species within our Salish Sea. So I just want to thank the Orca Network for all the work that you guys have done in educating the world about these precious animals that we have here, and for also bringing to light the issues with having orcas in captivity. So thank you for everything you guys are doing, and here's to another 20 years.
Congratulations, Orca Network, on your 20th anniversary. I'm Fred Felleman, recovering orca biologist and current Port of Seattle Commission president. I met Howie shortly after showing up at Ken's place in 1980 to see if I could do my graduate studies on southern resident killer whales while still an undergraduate at the University of Michigan. I'm delighted to have had a hand in introducing Howie to Susan 26 years ago after giving a talk at Beach Watchers, which Susan had invited me to speak about a proposal I had drafted to create a national marine sanctuary in the San Juans in 1995, the year after stewarding the designation of the sanctuary off the Olympic coast. While the San Juan Sanctuary was unsuccessful, it did lead to the creation of the Northwest Straits Commission. But even more importantly, it led to the creation of the Howie and Susan tag team we now call Orca Network. While my efforts to advance the knowledge and conservation of our endangered orcas have evolved over the years, Orca Network has played a key role for me and so many others by keeping us connected to these remarkable creatures in our midst. While I refer to our, I mean they're part of who we are as residents of this region, woven into its ecology, culture, and economy. While not our possession, with just 73 individuals left in the southern resident population, we could easily lose them unless we work together to find ways to share these waters with them. Orca Network has played a key role in keeping that connection, for which I'm forever grateful. Thank you, Orca Network, and all the people who continue to provide sightings and the staff that share them with us all. Like all cooperative hunters, in unity there is strength. Here's to another 20 years of keeping us in touch with such an amazing privilege we have to share these waters with these whales. But with this privilege comes a responsibility to do all we can to coexist. Thank you, Orca Network, for the past 20 years of doing your part to that end.
Happy birthday, Howie and Susan and Orca Network. Oh my gosh, 20 years. Congratulations on staying in the business, staying relevant, staying important. Thank you so much for all of the work that you do, your staff, and being able to pull all of the information together that you guys collect, getting out there doing education and outreach. I don't know where we'd all be without you guys. Thank you so much, and cheers to 20 more.
Hi everyone, I'm Colleen Weiler, the Jessica Ricos Fellow with Whale and Dolphin Conservation, and I have been so lucky to work alongside of and learn from the incredibly knowledgeable, dedicated, and passionate team at Orca Network pretty much since I started with WDC. We work with Orca Network in several areas on policy and advocacy for the southern resident orcas, salmon, and healthy habitats, and education and outreach events, especially honored to have been able to join recent years of celebrating Orca Month and helping to expand events down here in Oregon. Orca Network, as the founders of Orca Month, remain the heart and soul of celebrations, and I'm so grateful to them for getting that whole month of celebration started. They provide valuable information to the public as well as to conservation partners, and I probably bug them far too often for updates on sightings and what's happening up around the San Juan Islands, so I can live vicariously through the literal Orca Network here from the stormy Oregon coast. So thank you so much to the incredible team, and happy birthday, Orca Network. Bye.
Hi, Orca Network. It's Monica from the Orca Behavior Institute. I'm out here at Lime Kiln where I just had J-Pod go by, and we all just wanted to wish you a very happy 20th birthday. So much of what we do, tracking the whales throughout the Salish Sea, is made really enriched by your 20 years of data and hard work. And you still contribute so much to the research that we do on the orcas of the Salish Sea. So thank you for everything that you do, and happiest of birthdays from all of us at the Orca Behavior Institute.
Happy birthday, Orca Network. This is Whitney Negebauer from Whale Scout, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for being an amazing partner over the years. Thank you so much for all of the time and the dedication that you put into helping our whales of the Salish Sea, and for being the very first thing that so many of us go and look up every morning is your Facebook page to see if there's been whales. Thank you for always being there and always helping connect people in Wales. Congratulations on 20 years, and here's to 20 more.
Happy 20th birthday, Orca Network. My name is Felicia, and I actually was able to attend a lot of protests and demonstrations down in South Florida for Lolita. I also did a fundraiser for her in partnership with the Orca Network a few years ago, and we had just a great time. And I really just want to say thank you to you guys. Lolita is the reason that I went vegan, and she started this vegan journey for me. So she's very special to me, and I think about her every day. So thank y'all so much for fighting tirelessly for her and her right to retire at a seaside sanctuary. Have a great day, guys.
Hey Orca Network, I just wanted to wish you a very happy birthday. As you can see behind me, I'm at the Mukilteo Terminal, about ready to cross over to Whidbey Island, home of the Orca Network, of course. And I just also wanted to tell you thank you so much for everything that you've done for everybody over the years, globally and locally in the Pacific Northwest, to bring the plight of the southern resident orcas to the forefront and to make sure that we do what we can so that the orcas are around for generations to come. So from me, Dory and Alexa, happy birthday, and we love you.
Wow. Well, we always say network is our middle name, our last name, our first name. Without all of you and all of the wonderful people who just left messages for us, that's really awesome. It's just amazing to think how far we've come. Let me get our slideshow ready. We're going to be showing a slideshow trying to cover 20 years of changes and amazing things that have taken place over the last 20 years. Okay, I think we have our screen up now. And I just want to thank everyone who took the time to send a birthday message. That's just very awesome. It's amazing that 20 years ago, and actually until 2014 or so, Orca Network was just Howard and I, and we thought we would just have a little, start a little organization and kind of build on some of the things we do and track the whales. This slide is kind of pre-Orca Network, some of the early years. Howard and his brother Ken started the Lolita and Tokitai Foundation in '95.
There are so many different stories here. We could branch off into 1,000 different tangents, but we've got a certain amount of time here, so we'll keep it fairly brief. But that shot by the poolside, looking kind of mournfully at Toki, is me in my disguise to get in the door. And to the lower left is, go ahead. Okay. That's the start of the whale sighting network, was right there in that lighthouse.
Right. And yeah, the top one is when Rosie the gray whale stranded, which was the beginning of a unusual mortality event way back then. And that was when I first got involved in being fascinated by dead marine mammals on the beach, something I never thought I would want to do. And so that was kind of the informal start of our sighting network, working with Matt Cloak, who was handling the strandings for Island County at that time. And my office, during this time, I was program coordinator for WSU Beach Watchers, which is now Soundwater Stewards, its own nonprofit. My office was in the upper floor of the Admiralty Head Lighthouse. And as I realized orcas went by during the fall and winter, I just started an informal phone tree of all volunteers who were interested in seeing the whales so they could get out and see them as they went by Whidbey. And that has turned into something much more these days. But those are kind of the early beginnings in what we built Orca Network on. And then do you want to talk about the Mo? That was our first.
In 1998, I had been living in Miami since 97, just to see if I could stir up some support for her retirement. And on the request of Ralph Monroe and his then wife Karen, we held a Mother's Day demonstration at the Miami Seaquarium in 1998. And it was the biggest that had ever been there. And it really did rock some boats for sure. Got a lot of notice and sort of, kicked the campaign up to a new level. And in the middle there is a copy of a letter from Elton John, who supported the campaign for a good 4 or 5 days until his managers decided, oh no, that's a little too touchy, you better back off of that. So we had it though in writing with his signature in color. So we made good use of that. So we can go on.
Yeah, and at the bottom in September 99, just something that ended up being a continuing story was the first time Howie had come back from Miami, and we were at the Center for Whale Research in September 99 while he was there for a few days. L67 went by, and we had a report, or Ken had a report of a whale going by herself, which was strange. And then he's like, that's L67. And then we're like, well, what is that behind her? And she had just had a calf who was L98, Luna.
You'll hear more about Luna.
Right.
So we're just going to go through the years with the new births, welcomed, and the sad farewells to those that left us in those years.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll kind of have the Orca Network news and pictures interspersed with the whale news and pictures. So just kind of letting you read the births and deaths and highlighting what then happened with Luna, and was he went missing by the summer of 2001. But then was discovered by DFO as the lone calf that was found up in Nootka Sound, though not publicly disclosed until January 2000.
One of the very, very few, if not the only one, that was ever considered missing and then reappeared.
And had left his pod or become separated. So this is our official year, November 9th. We became officially incorporated as Orca Network to focus on our continuing the Lolita project, but also educating about her family, who was beginning to suffer from lack of salmon at that point, and our growing sighting network that had grown from a phone tree to an email list that was getting larger and larger, and including researchers around the region. And we had board member Dave Anderson, who was part of the Toki Tai Foundation board and then joined with the Orca Network board. He just retired from his board post this month after 20 years. So he gets the award for persistence and stick-to-itiveness. And we just appreciate all the work he's put in. He's our main salmon guy. And on the left was our first Orca Salmon event with Ken Balcom speaking.
Right, at the Freeland Hall. And Ken spoke, and Ralph and Dave prepared dinner for about 65 people. It was pretty fantastic. And it was our first attempt, our realization at that time, and our attempt to make it better known that orcas depend on salmon. There is an inextinguishable link between the salmon, especially the Chinook salmon, and southern resident orcas. No fish, no blackfish. And so that was sort of our original attempt to try to draw that link and make that connection known. And over on the right is when I went back to Miami.
And no, he's not in prison there with the barbed wire.
Yeah, I'm actually outside the fence in the parking lot. I'm looking at the site that they said, the management said, would be the site of the future Whale and Dolphin Stadium coming in 2002. It's still not there. But I took a look just to see if they were serious. Apparently they weren't. So 2002 was a very complicated year and very confusing, starting right off with January 2nd, when a female transient and her apparently juvenile son, she died. She stranded and expired right there on the beach. And he, the juvenile, almost full grown. I mean, he was sprouted, but he would not leave. And in fact, during two high tide cycles, he tried to go up onto the beach and strand himself and just, end it all right there. But he was pulled very carefully and gently, but pulled off the beach and out into the open water and released, and was seen several days later out in the open Pacific. So he apparently did survive, at least for a short while. But then followed immediately January 3rd by a very strange report of a calf in the Swinomish Channel, reported by diners at a restaurant in La Conner. And then several times along the Seattle waterfront and at Point Wells and Edmonds. And then finally, January 14th, took up residence on the north end of Vashon Island by the ferry landing, and stayed there for 6 months until she was successfully rejoined, relocated, transported up to her family in the north end of Vancouver Island. And that, of course, was Springer, age 73. And then January 30th, it was announced finally that Luna L98 had been up there in Nootka Sound since July of 2001. And that began the long, sad, and exasperating saga of Luna in Nootka Sound. Moving on.
Yeah. And I also, as we go on through this, I'll just do a reminder. If you get bored, remember to bid on the auction. That's actually, I'm channeling Ralph, who would always be our fundraiser at our events. Ralph Monroe, former Secretary of State, who is in the upper right-hand corner with a wreath at one of our early Lolita events. And below him, former Senator Congressman, Jack Metcalf, who supported the Toki Project. And that's what I loved and love about Lolita and about whales, is it's really apolitical because everybody loves whales. And it brings, at some of our Lolita events, I look around and I think, where else would this group of people gather together and agree on something? And so that's just kind of unifying message of whales. We aren't going to be able to go through everything, so we'll just let you look at pictures and read. But I wanted to, on the left, Dave Anderson and I flew up to Bella Bella and then by boat up to Ocean Falls in 2002 for a fish farm hatchery protest with First Nations up there. So, that's an issue we've been working on for a long time. And then
2003, it had become very obvious that Southern residents were in deep trouble. They lost 20% of their population between 1995 and 2001. Hence the need to make known that they depend on salmon and we need to restore salmon throughout their range. And in 2003, the Southern residents were listed as endangered under Canada's Species at Risk Act.
And in Sighting Network news, this is what our Sighting Network really kicked off and went crazy when we had 11 transient orcas spend 2 months in Hood Canal. And this was a time when we didn't have that many transient reports. And when they did come in, it was usually San Juan's, Victoria, and just a few of them for a day or two. But these these orcas just came into Hood Canal and stayed 2 months, and everyone was just, Steve Jeffries was trying to figure out how many seals they ate in all that time, and then figured out we don't really know how to count seals, but they know they made a dent in the seal population. And in that group was Pender, who T14, who was released from Bud Inlet in 1976 after being captured.
In 2004, we welcomed 4 new calves. J40, well, we can't read them all.
Yeah, and then another of our capture events. This was a orca calf skull, one of the orca calves killed during the captures that was donated to us. And we have commemorated the capture anniversary every year in early August. And Luna continued to make friends and enemies up in Nootka Sound, while the US and Canada and agencies and organizations talked and planned and fought and tried to figure out how to get him home unsuccessfully, sadly.
Yeah, he was such a lovable whale. And in 2005, Southern residents listed as endangered under the US ESA.
And 2005 was when we officially began our Central Puget Sound Marine Mammal Stranding Network under Orca Network. And it was also when Howard and I made it official and got married in June 2005. And again, we had a long stay of transient orcas in Hood Canal. This time it was 6 transients, T124A and T71, and their offspring that spent 6 months in Hood Canal. A wonderful photo of a breach there. And on the lower right middle was the Marine Mammal Biennial Conference in San Diego. It just happened to hold their icebreaker at SeaWorld San Diego on the anniversary of Corky's capture. And we just couldn't let that go by. So we kind of snuck in some free Corky t-shirts and information, and we drew a tattoo on this woman's back and she showed it around, and we got in a little trouble, but we were there a little while before we got kicked out. And someone on our current staff, here's a trivia question, put some, free Corky buttons in the pockets of some of the items in the gift shop.
2006, critical habitat designated for southern residents, and it has recently been expanded to include more of the coast.
And yeah, 2006 was also the very sad year. I think this was one of my saddest days when I got the call from Suzanne Chisholm that Luna had been killed by a tugboat propeller. We had become really close friends with Michael and Suzanne, and Luna had been part of our daily life and internet presence of keeping people updated on what was happening, because there was so much happening. And it was devastating to so many of us to lose this whale who, had us humans been able to get it together, could have had a chance at being back with Elba. And on the other hand, our stranding team tried to make the best out of this unfortunate gray whale death by collecting and cleaning up a gray whale skull for educational display and education. And we continue to do that, have many specimens on display at the Coopville Wharf and the Langley Whale Center. We're supposed to be happy. 2007 was our first Orca Month.
Signed by Christine Gregoire, governor.
And we partnered with Silver Lake Winery, who had this great display, gave proceeds from Orca wine, and did great promotions in many grocery stores. In 2008, you can just
so many
see,
losses.
Yeah.
So many losses. Reinforce that we need to do all we can to help them.
Yeah, years like this, too many of them that were so hard, and so many that are still so hard. Positive through. And in this event, we worked with Cindy Hansen, who was with the Whale Museum then, and held an event to honor the whale Lummi K7, who had passed, with our dear friend Jim Hilaire and his wife Ludi and their family. Sadly, we lost Jim this year. He announced the canoe races for the Water Festival every year since the early 90s, and they were just so wonderful at this event for Lummi.
And Sweet Pea was featured as hometown hero.
Along with her
and she is so enjoying that moment.
Yes, we had a good year where we had more births than losses.
And there was the signing with Governor Gregoire and Karen Monroe in the governor's office of the 2008, I believe, Orca Month proclamation.
Oh, and another sad year, especially losing Ruffles, J1. I think he had to be everybody's favorite whale. And this is one of our other skeletal displays. Some of you will recognize those people in that photo. Some of you are here right now. And then the orca whale wheel that Roger Perdue designed went up in Coupeville.
2 more births in 2011.
And there was a celebration at Limekiln for Granny's birthday. And you'll see Rosie and Bill in the upper left.
And an impromptu Lolita rally in Lahaina with Caroline Armand and some friends.
Sharon Grace.
Sharon Grace. Yeah,
And
that was great.
And a Coupeville Christmas parade with more of you that I know are here today. And Sandy Dupernell teaching first graders at the Coupeville Wharf.
So many losses in
another
2012.
Sad year.
Yeah, I mean, each of those is a story we could tell.
Yeah. And then we went to Craig, Alaska with Jill Hine and Sandy Dupernell for their Whale Fest, and Howard did presentations and taught the kids at the Heidelberg, Alaska school about orcas. And then Cindy with her flucat welcomed the whales in our parade, and our workshop at Camp Casey, Ways of Whales, that it snowed and we had technical difficulties. We had the biggest crowd ever that barely fit, and yet it still, as many things as went wrong, it was still one of our best.
No farewells and no welcomes. And then 2013, the gift that keeps on giving, the Blackfish the movie premieres at Sundance and then is picked up in theaters and then splashes around the world on CNN, which showed the movie 22 times by my count.
And that really started changing things for Orca Network.
Not only sensitivity about captivity, but also just fascination with orcas.
it's amazing how many people come into the Whale Center today still and say, I moved to Washington because I saw blackfish and I wanted to be closer to the wild orcas and I want to do something to help them. And really just upped everything.
Excuse me. And then in 2014, helping to provide more habitat for salmon, especially those big Chinook salmon that used to go up and down the Elwha River. The two dams there were finally demolished. And in 2014 also, we started our new Langley Whale Center in a corner building, very old and decrepit and leaky, but it certainly had character and personality. So that was our start for the Langley Whale Center. And you'll notice in the lower right, the blue whale jawbone that festooned the entrance. And NOAA includes Toki under the ESA, which didn't bring the results that we hoped, but it certainly did show that she is a member of her family. And this was our second location for the Langley Whale Center in 2015, about 2 doors down the same street in Langley. And you'll notice again the blue whale jawbone over the door, a whole new ironworks to hold it up.
And I wanted to say until 2014, excuse me, late 2014, we didn't have any staff. And 2014, we hired Wendy Sines for the Whale Center manager and Elisa Lemire Brooks. They're both on the left in this photo, started helping us before then, but was officially staffed in January 15.
2016, many farewells. Population diminished by 7 that year.
And including Granny and
Yeah.
so many whales we loved. But then there's also some positive things. We're trying to share the good with the bad. There was super pods that happened after Blackfish came out. Ken and Howie in Seattle at a dam rally. And one of our youth volunteers and Howard Garrett fans, Judah, who is just in hog heaven there with his hero.
2017, more farewells. Much more happened that year, but those were the noteworthy events.
And we moved the Whale Center again to an even bigger home, where we still are, and we hope we don't have to move for a while. We really love our new location. And the Cookville Wharf whale bell went in, and that was our moving crew.
Yeah. In 2018, Governor Inslee formed the Southern Resident Task Force. Actually, much more happened that year. That was the year J35 carried her deceased calf around for 17 days, about 1,000 miles. And at the same time, J50 Scarlet, 3-year-old calf, began ailing and falling behind and looking bad, and she eventually passed away. And right in the middle of the governor's resident Orca task force that attempted to find solutions to the problem of how to bring the orcas. Yeah.
A lot going on here. And I also just want to say, due to a 2-day power outage and a computer meltdown that wiped out all the photos I had for this slideshow, that it's kind of a mix of things. So I just apologize for that. But we're giving you a good view of some of what went on these last 20 years.
So Ken Price in the middle upper photo there, he completely rebuilt the old phone booth that Susan had found on a lost and found somewhere on cruise list, I believe it was. And he has done so much more to beautify the Langley Whale Center.
And we have our beautiful listening sound booth that hopefully once COVID protocols are gone and a thing of the past, where everyone can use the touch screen to listen to all kinds of ocean sounds and whales and even fish farts. And in 2019, a gray whale unusual mortality event, which has kept both our sighting network and our stranding network busy. We do a lot of work helping in all areas of Puget Sound to track some of the whales that are here that aren't doing well, and keep track of the whales that come in and are lucky to find the North Puget Sound ghost shrimp feeding areas and make it out and come back.
And just to note, there are apparently 2 gray whales in Puget Sound right now, and that's really not a good thing because they're probably not finding food down where they are in the central and lower Puget Sound.
And you are ignoring any of the notices and Facebook posts about whales today so that you're here instead. But we are recording it for those of you who are the true whale nerds who are out there watching and tracking the whales for us. We appreciate that. And here is Governor Inslee signing the Orca Action Month proclamation. We did change it from Orca Awareness Month because people did become aware over the years to Orca Action, because everyone wants to take action. And and that was Dana Lyons, who you just heard from, singing one of the many events he sang. And the gray whale unusual mortality event is ongoing, sadly. And there's London Fletcher, another of Howie's favorite fans, who we have watched grow from a little girl very interested with good questions to a young lady who's done a lot.
London came to a blackfish showing in Edmonds when she was, I believe, 6 or 7 years old, and asked me after the talks, does anyone know what they're saying to each other? And I replied, no, that's up to another generation of whale scientists to figure out. And that apparently launched her on her career as a budding young whale scientist. And he continues doing that today, having authored a paper on already on sea lions, leopard seals in New Zealand, in fact. Well, you'll see the other there, just a moment. Rachel and Dory in Holmes Harbor looking at some whales, gray whale volunteer. So through it all, there have been so many days. Every day has been filled with whales, with new sightings, new reports, new questions, new events, people giving talks and education going on all the time. So much input from so many different directions, and the constant drama and excitement of seeing whales all around the San Juans and the Salish Sea. And we've been trying to present that picture, that ongoing story of the whales of really of all kinds throughout the Salish Sea and Puget Sound. And what a ride it has been.
Yeah, there's I got to the end of the slideshow and was like, there's still so much more that I haven't shared or talked about. There's our Orca Action Month logo, the wishing whale and the Langley whale bell. the new orca exhibits and the new paint job at our Langley Whale Center that Amanda Colbert did while she was our education assistant, and our Share the Water program to educate boaters. It's just so amazing. It's Blackfish and Tahlequah carrying her calf around, I think, did more to educate more people around the world than any two, well, and Luna. Those are events like that touch people who aren't aware of the whales, of the orcas, and it's just amazing how many more people are aware and interested and want to take action. And it's just increased.
And here's our hope. The calves of the last 2 years, you can see them all here, all looking good. All so far at last reports are looking fat and happy, and we don't know where they're finding their food. J-Pod has been around San Juan Island the last couple of days, but when they've been seen recently, they're always spread out. They're always scattered over miles, and of course they're in touch with each other, but they're not socializing. They're not coming together in their happy meetups like we've seen them in the past. Almost all the time that we saw them, they were able to be very close together, but they seem to be working very hard to find every fish in every nook and cranny in recent years.
And the hope is also for these children, and on the right is London when she met you, and we'll see her in a video soon, I believe, which I haven't had time to watch yet.
No, I'm looking forward to that.
And Michael Barajas is another of our youth volunteers that is growing
so
up.
mature and so courteous and a wonderful little guy.
And kids enjoying the sound booth, listening to the headphones. So our hope for the future is, it's in these kids who are growing up and who really get it. They care. We don't have to work to convince them that they need to care about the salmon or the orcas or the gray whales. They just get it, and they're so smart, and they want to help, and it gives us hope.
So network is our name, and we are all in the network. So we thank our network. Happy birthday, network.
Yeah, and it's all of you. Stop. All of you who have kept us going these last 20 years. We wouldn't be here without you. And so let's see, I know we are running a little bit late. So
what's up?
Yeah, did we how is the auction? No, Cindy wanted to share some more. Yeah, some more video
please.
messages.
A message from Michelle Gall. When I moved to Edmonds, I was so excited to learn that we could see whales from shore. I didn't have much luck until a coworker told me about the Orca Network. Fast forward to 2014, and I spent that Thanksgiving morning at the crack of dawn on Marina Beach looking for orcas. I first spotted splashes at the mid-channel buoy. I got to see the Rezzies until noon, following them up the shore with fellow Dorcas. A highlight was a close pass by the Mukilteo Lighthouse around noon. Dinner was definitely late that Thanksgiving.
I am Erin Gless, Executive Director of the Pacific Whale Watch Association, and on behalf of our 29 member companies in both Washington and British Columbia, we would like to wish Orca Network a very happy 20th birthday. Over the last 2 decades, your open access whale sightings network has helped hundreds of thousands of people view whales responsibly, whether from shore or from our whale watching vessels, people who might not have had that special opportunity otherwise. In addition to the Sightings Network, the PWWA is so thankful for the events that you host, such as the Ways of Whales workshop and other Orca Network gatherings that give our captains, naturalists, and crew members a chance to both learn new things and share insights of our own with the community. The whales are fortunate to have such passionate advocates working on their behalf, and we look forward to seeing what Orca Network will accomplish in the next 20 years and beyond. Happy birthday.
Hello, this is Susan Marie Anderson calling, and I wanted to wish you all at Orca Network a very happy anniversary. The work you do is phenomenal. It makes such a huge difference for the whales, for the sound, for the environment. Susan, Howard, Cindy, Lisa, all of you who are so committed to this organization. I'm incredibly grateful, and it's been wonderful connecting with you guys and doing work with you. And I wish you many more wonderful and productive years helping the whales and connecting people to the environment and keeping this place the special place it is to live. So thank you again so much. Have a great anniversary. Bye.
Hey there, everybody. This is Erin Cora, founder and executive director of Folks, Friends of Lime Kiln Society. Coming from Lime Kiln Point State Park here, offering a wonderful celebration, and congratulations to Orca Network. And Howie and Susan and the team have done so many amazing things these last 20 years, and just exciting to consider what might happen in the next 20. I've been really enjoying connecting and collaborating and partnering up on really fun activities and fundraisers, events, all kinds of outreach on Lime Kiln, as well as just all throughout the Sailor Sea. Here's to more flying monkeys and more amazing efforts. Congratulations, you guys. Love you.
Hi, this is Suzanne Chisholm.
And Michael Parfit.
We made a film called Saving Luna a few years ago.
For us, Orca Network has been a strong, reliable, persistent, and determined voice for all cetaceans for the entire time we've known about the whales of the Salish Sea.
When we first found out about Orca Network and tried to learn about the southern residents, we found absolutely critical information on the Orca Network website, in their regular reports, and in their willingness and patience to explain things to us directly.
Later, as we got to know Orca Network better and learned about the many campaigns they have undertaken to save individuals and protect groups, we realized that this organization has, through its consistent work, benefited all cetaceans, whether in the Salish Sea or anywhere else in the world.
Orca Network teaches people why cetaceans should be loved and how to love them responsibly and well. Thank you, Susan and Howie.
Thank you.
A message from Janet St. Clair. When I was running for office, that was the summer that Tahlequah carried her dead calf in the waters of the Salish Sea for 17 days. I tried to talk about that event and explaining my commitment to salmon and orca recovery, and instead I choked up. Tears filled my eyes. I want to thank Orca Network for their commitment to helping educate and promote research to protect our whales, including L125, born in February. In honor of these whales and Orca Network, I want to share an excerpt of a poem by D.H. Lawrence, Whales Weep Not. They say the sea is cold, but the sea contains the hottest blood of all, and the wildest, the most urgent. All the whales in the wider deeps hot are they, as they urge on and dive beneath the icebergs. The right whales, the sperm whales, the hammerheads, the killers, there they blow, hot, wild, white breath out of the sea. And bull whales gather their women and whale calves in a ring when danger threatens, on the surface of the ceaseless flood, and range themselves like great fierce seraphim facing the threat, encircling their huddled monsters of love. All of this happens in the sea, in the salt, where God is also love, but without words. And Aphrodite is the wife of whales. Most happy, happy she.
Okay, next we're going to have Elisa read a couple of messages that came in.
From Bonnie Gretz, longtime volunteer. Thank you, Orca Network, for 20 years of incredible work for the cetaceans, habitat, and people of the Salish Sea and beyond. After becoming a volunteer in 2011, when I first moved to Whidbey Island, I am so grateful for the deep connections I've made and the opportunity to help this amazing organization. I met Howie in 1994 at the Center for Whale Research while working as an Earthwatch volunteer for 10 days. In 1996, I met Susan when I gave her a Barbie doll after I learned that she loves Barbie. I had given Howie a Barbie and Keiko Mattel product, which I worked on, set, and he gave it to her. She gives me a little credit for their getting together as more than friends. As I kept returning to the San Juan Islands to see and learn more about the orcas, my heart kept tugging me to move to the area. Finally, in 2011, I moved to Coopville. I immediately asked what I could do for Orca Network and subsequently have been doing a wonderful variety of tasks, including working at the Langley Whale Center since it first opened. Orca Network has grown into a vital part of the Salish Sea, not only for the important work of education, citizen science with the reporting network, which contributes so much to the ongoing hard work of scientists, and the Stranding Network, but for creating a deeply connected community of people who care for the whales and for each other. Belonging and contributing to this community has brought great joy and satisfaction to me. I cherish these ties with my podners, AKA Orcaholics, Orcadorks. We laugh together, share our stories about our cetacean friends, and also mourn together when we lose both whale and human friends. So thank you, Orca Network, Susan and Howie, and all the amazing staff and board members, and to all of my fellow volunteers. Carolyn Armand. I've been connected with Orca Network, Susan and Howie since at least 2005. Thinking about it, I interacted, learned, worked, volunteered, and traveled with this effective organization more than any other. From San Juan Island, Whidbey Island, San Ignacio Lagoon to Maui, all about whales. To conferences, workshops, activism, memorials, celebrations, here in the islands, Portland, Vancouver, BC, Maui, San Francisco, and Seattle. Orca Network started as two determined, committed, passionate individuals, Susan and Howie, to care for and make a recovery difference for whales and sea life. They have done this and continue as stewardship is needed lifelong, while connecting people globally to whales, advocacy, and each other. I am very grateful for Orca Network and all of you. Happy birthday. Love, Caroline Amon, Onboard Tours, Wales.
So we are here today at Semyamu Resort Hotel celebrating the 20-year anniversary of Orca Network. And when we first heard that its 20 years was coming up, we weren't really sure about what we should do because Orca Network has done so much for us over the past years and there really is no way to properly thank them, but we're here making this video.
I want to start with kind of a quote from Ingrid Visser. That's our family's motto, or kind of the mantra in our family, and that's, it's not what you do, it's who you inspire. So, man, talk about inspiration. So
I probably wouldn't be where I am today, or it's not a probably, I definitely wouldn't be where I am today without Orca Network. I remember when I was 5, 6 years old and I first watched Blackfish on CNN. And then I went to Edmonds College, where Orca Network was putting on a screening of Blackfish, and that was where everything started. That was where my interest in killer whales really sparked.
He brought us into the fold, and I think that's what's so amazing about Orca Network is it really is, it's not just like a network, you know, of computers. It's a community. It's a network of people, and Howard and Susan and Cindy and all you guys and Sandra, all you guys have just gone just so far to include us, and you've really changed our lives forever. You've changed the trajectory of our lives. You've changed that. You've brought our family closer in ways that
Yeah, I think my favorite thing that I have ever spoken at as far as symposiums go is Ways of Wales, because it was my first symposium that I ever went to, and it was so meaningful to be able to speak somewhere really, really at home, because of course San Juan Island, it's our home, but it was, and something that was put on by Orca Network, the people who got me started. And what was really amazing about Ways of Wales was, because of course I speak everywhere about my advocacy and all of the work I do with that, but Ways of Wales was my first opportunity to talk about the research that I had done myself. And that was just, it was really notable for me.
It was like a little homecoming, or it was just, what a perfect send-off. I couldn't think of anywhere else we'd rather do, your first scientific presentation. Is your entrance onto the scientific stage in front of all her colleagues and stuff who are 1,000 feet tall to her and are still. So it was just, that opportunity was just so profound to us. We were just over the moon, and we love you guys so much, and you're going to keep hearing us say that. So this is going to be really mushy, but we love you guys so much.
I'm so grateful for Howard and everyone at Orca Network for just really facilitating everything that I do, and so many opportunities that I have that I wouldn't have gotten if it wasn't for Howard and everyone. Of course, my goal one day is to open my own research center, and I would really strive to have the same level of commitment and outreach as Orca Network. It is just so incredible.
And all the volunteers, I mean, that's really what makes this thing happen, just the whole community, and that's why you include everyone, and that's why it's just, you guys have taught us so much. You have literally changed our lives forever, and there's no amount of little videos or thank you or praise that we can really give you guys that would ever be enough.
I almost feel bad for waiting so long, waiting until like the big 20th anniversary to thank you guys for all of this, because I know I thanked you guys along the way as all of these opportunities have happened, but it just feels like I haven't done it enough, and I almost feel bad for waiting until the big 20th anniversary to do it.
Hi Howard, hi Susan and Team Orca Network. Happy birthday, 20 years, that's amazing. When I saw that, I was like, that is such an accomplishment. And I'm so proud of you, and I'm so grateful and appreciative. And I was going to share with you my first sighting of a wild orca, but I have yet to see an orca in the wild. So instead, I wanted to change the focus a little bit and just love on you some more. So what do I want to say? I want to say that your presence and your work in my life and in the world has felt like a light in what was oftentimes a lot of darkness. And I want to thank you for that. And it's offered, I want to describe it like a living hope. You know, the Jewish culture talks about having living water, water that's not stagnant or dead, but it's active and moving and dynamic. And that's what the hope that you've given me has felt like, active and alive and moving. And I really feel like bearing witness to that kind of goodness, that kind of constant, like almost tenacious goodness has really felt like a relief and has felt deeply comforting. And I really want to thank you for that. And I think the last thing I want to say is please keep going, because we need you and what you're doing is important. And so I would imagine that you're tired, but I'm asking that you keep going. And oh wait, last thing I just want to still say. Something that I've really been trying to do myself with an accomplishment as big as this, I'd ask that you sit in it a little bit more. You know, it's so easy to like rush ahead and brush over it, but I would like you to consider sitting in this accomplishment some more, because I think when you really understand and dwell in the significance and the power of this accomplishment, it will give you strength and courage to keep going. So thank you so much. Happy birthday. And yeah, I hope to see you soon. Bye.
That was Ingrid Seeley in Germany, by the way. So I'm sitting in it like a bowl of hot mush right now. I'm just kind of blown away by it all. But I did want to show you the Orca fluke that matches the one that London was wearing, because they were both made by Rachel Anderson in California, who makes these beautiful handmade, and they actually have the exact markings of Toki's fluke. She has been there and seen her and cares so much and has for so many years. So
he's another wonderful youth volunteer. And we did put in chat if there is a longer video that Joel and London did that we have shared a link to, and we'll post on our social media. And so many of these are so precious. So we're hoping to have a place on our brand new website, which I think it's okay to say we are going to launch within weeks.
Not months, but weeks.
Weeks, we're really getting close. So we're gonna find a way, because as Stephanie reminded us, our birthday is all year long. So obviously we can't shove 20 years into 2 hours or into 1 month. So we are going to celebrate all year long. And it just means a lot to us, all that people have shared. And I'm gonna let somebody else do something next, because I'm starting to cry.
Yeah.
Is the auction or trivia, or are we gonna, or the video? Oh,
look at that. You have bids?
Been going on in the
So go ahead and put your bids in the chat there as we're doing this, but we're going to hatch 2 birds from 1 egg and do round 2 of our trivia at the same time. So hopefully that won't distract you from bidding as well. So our first question in this round of trivia, for those of you who've attended the Ways of Wales workshop, what object is used to alert the Ways of Wales workshop speakers that they are out of time? And Jill actually answered the question before I finished saying it out loud. It was the monkey. Yes, the flying monkey is the timekeeper. It flies screaming through the air to let us all know that we need to stop talking. Okay. And the next question, if you were paying close attention to the history slideshow, you'll know the answer to this. Who introduced Susan and Howard originally 26 years ago?
Fred.
You folks are on it. I'm going to choose harder questions next time. Yes. Thank you, Karina. I hope I'm saying your name right for getting that right. It's Fred Felleman, currently one of the port commissioners for the Port of Seattle. So this last one, super simple, I hope. How many gray whales are there in the Southern Hemisphere?
Southern.
Oh, this has taken a while. How many gray whales in the Southern Hemisphere? None. Thank you, Emma. That is correct. None that we know of, I should say, because our recent beluga visitor to Puget Sound tells us that sometimes they show up or we don't expect them. But yes, we do not expect any gray whales to be in the Southern Hemisphere. And folks, Emma, thank you. You're in the UK, so you're asking us not to try to send you a prize, but thank you very much for your participation. Bonnie, Jill, and Karina, if you wouldn't mind sending me your contact information so we can get your prizes to you. I'm going to put my email address in the chat there for you, and you can send it to me so that we can be sure that that doesn't show up for everybody on the call, but we still get the information. Thank you very much.
Okay, and I think now we're going to show an Orca Network video. Is that right? With our staff and board. And then while this is playing, all the staff and board who are here will put their cameras on, and after the video, we'll introduce everybody. Okay, so I know we are running over time. We really want to introduce the staff who is here. If you can all just say hello, who you are, what you do. I know there are other board members on board today too. You want to start, Stephanie?
Hi, I'm Stephanie Raymond. I'm the program coordinator and volunteer coordinator, and I've only been here for a couple months, so I'm just getting my bearings, but I've known Susan and Howard since the very beginning of Orca Network, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be part of the staff here now.
Elisa?
Elisa Lemire Brooks, Whale Sighting Network Coordinator, and I'm crying now, and I just appreciate Orca Network, and which includes everybody out there around the globe. Thank you so much.
Tiffany?
I'm Tiffany. I'm new and I'm the programs assistant, and I'm transitioning to help more with the education. And I wanted to say that I was a little girl that grew up and I got lost in this world. And Orca Network, they connected me back to the passion that I lost along the way. And so I'm really grateful to be a part of their team and their pod.
Thank you. Lucy?
Hi, I'm Lucy Clack. I'm operations manager, and I'm probably the newest employee here, but been following Orca Network for 15 years or more. So happy to be out here in Washington State now. The whales brought me here, and I couldn't be happier being a part of this team. So thanks everybody for joining today. We really appreciate you all.
Thank you. Edie?
Hi, I'm Katie Watkins, and I am the newly appointed Whale Center manager. I followed in the footsteps of Wendy. Jeannie is not here. She's our assistant manager because she was at the Whale Center today. And I just wanted to say I'm really grateful to be part of this pod. And like it seems like a lot of us, this is one of the reasons I moved to the area.
Cindy, who's been behind the scenes making everything run, putting together the amazing videos, and what would we do without her?
Well, I'm Cindy Hansen. I'm the Education and Advocacy Coordinator. Have been volunteering with Orca Network since before it was actually Orca Network, and have been working with Orca Network since 2016. And I'm just so happy to be part of this pod. So thank you to all of our amazing staff, and thank you to everybody for joining us today.
And oh, good, there's Gail.
Good.
I know, well, Gail's getting her video on. We also have Gary Heinrich, who is our stranding coordinator, who has been working on a boat in California and working remotely to handle strandings, which he's been amazingly doing. Thanks to all our great volunteers.
Gail, are you there?
Gail's there.
Publisher of the incredible whale sightings reports that go out once a week. The amazing photos and the summaries and the identifications. And are you there, Gail? Apparently not. Your name appears.
She's trying.
That's about
We'll
all.
just all share her.
Gail, you're on mute. My name.
Well, she's on mute and blackout, so we don't see her.
Well, we hope Gail will show. Well, Gail, we hope you can get off of mute. But we have Jill Hine, who's been helping a lot with this event, longtime board member. I know we have other, Debbie Stewart, Fred Lundell, board members. I haven't had time to look at all who is here.
And we also, there's Fred.
Okay. Any other board members who want to show their faces or say hello?
And I also want to just extend thoughts and best wishes to Sandy Dupernell, who has been so solid with us, a board member, secretary, curator, Nick Cropsey, organizer for all these years. And she has been laid back by a bad illness for the past couple of months and is not able to participate at this time. So we just want to wish her well.
There's
Debbie Stewart. And they're all behind black screens. I'm not sure what deal is there, but any of you who would like to come out of the shadows and into the day, please do and say hello. Oh, well.
It's Debbie. Can you guys hear me at least?
Yeah.
Oh, we can hear you, yes.
So in trying to turn on my camera, it's telling me it's being blocked by other apps or something. But good evening, everybody. I'm a pretty new board member for Orca Network, only about a year. And like everybody else, I was somebody living in another part of the country and just wanting to figure out a way to get closer to Orca. So I moved up to Washington in 2015. How I found Orca Network is kind of interesting because I had been in the San Juans whale watching, and members of all three pods were off San Juan Island. And the next day, K44 was born. And so I had learned from the naturalist that, you know, the prognosis for him to survive his first year wasn't very good. And so I became obsessed with just how is this little baby orca doing? And that's how I found Orca Network, because I said, how can I find out if he has been seen or not? So that was back in 2011. And now one of the things that I do for Orca Network is I log every single sighting into a spreadsheet. And it is one of the joys of my life.
Wonderful.
And her work has tripled over the last 5 or 6 years.
At least.
Right.
Have Gail yet? Did Jill want to say hello or wave? Oh, did she? Oh, yes. I'm not paying attention. Fred, Wendy, you want to? So Wendy was our first staff at the Langley Whale Center, and who tried to retire before COVID. And she just finally sort of almost retired in the last month. So she has been great in making the Whale Center what it is today. There she is.
I'm in the dark.
A little bit.
I just want to thank Susan and Howard for those of you that don't know, Susan's my sister and Howard's my brother-in-law. So that's my claim to fame. And gave me the opportunity in 2014 to start the Whale Center that had just opened. And I was staying with them at the time, and Blackfish had just come out, and every time it was on CNN, the phone just started ringing off the hook. And I told them, I says, you guys are going to really see some growth. And in this 7 years I've been with them, it's just been incredible to see the growth. Because when I came on, it was just the two of them, and they have so many wonderful programs. And I think the thing that I have enjoyed the most is seeing people connect in this common cause and form lifelong friendships. So that's my spiel. I wasn't expected to say, but thank you for everything.
And so true.
I'll just say something very quickly, since all the other board members have also been a board member for, well, over 10 years, and an Orca dog for way, way, way longer than that. But I just feel I'm more a projects person on the board, helping out with workshops and silent auctions. Don't forget to bid. and and whatever else needs to be done, and filling in the Stranding Network right now. And I've been a member of that for a long time. But anyway, I want to make it short, but I just love doing this. So thank you.
We love your help and your presence all the time.
Photographs too.
Yeah, yes. And somebody said, Jill's on every committee. She does everything. Like, yes.
Compulsive volunteer.
Let's see, Gail, did you want to say anything?
Are you there yet, Gail?
I mean,
nope.
She's probably working on the next whale report.
Yeah.
Trying to keep track of the whales that are out there. But Howard and I and Lisa have all done the whale report before, so we know how difficult and relentless it is and what a work of art it is. And we can't thank you enough for doing that. And I don't think Cheryl Payne is on. She was our operations manager that Lucy is taking over for. But Cheryl is another one who's trying to retire, but staying on until we get the website done. So we hope to do that in the week ahead and make everyone happy, including all of you who will really enjoy our new website. Anyone else want to say anything? We appreciate all of you so much. We are over time. So there's so much negativity and darkness in the world today, and there's so much sad news with climate change and the whales and the salmon and habitat. But, doing this, seeing what's happened the last 20 years, and what I thought was going to be just a little organization with the two of us keeping track of the whales and doing some education. It's because of this now global network and our ability to do things, across the world and reach so many people, and the fact that so many people care. That's what gives us hope. And all of our staff and our new staff, and that we're, really looking forward to the next 20 years and us, at some point being able to be volunteers or just sit back and think of ideas and get out and watch the whales once in a while. But we feel like the future is in good hands, and all of you and everyone who's been a part of the network gives us hope.
And it's really all inspired by whale magic. I mean,
it's the
we
whales.
say iconic and charismatic and beloved, and they're all of that, but there's even more. There's some indescribable quality to seeing whales and learning about them that makes us better people. It brings out the best in us, and that is what we are basically, and all of us. I mean, the broad network and all of our staff and our board and everyone that we have been in touch with over these years have known and have helped to bring to other people. So that's what we all do. Thank you all for being a part of that.
And since we're over time, I have to
shoot the monkey. Oh. Well, that broke my laptop.
Yeah,
but
it
really.
Didn't make its noise. But anyway, we got the flying monkey, which means we're over time. And we just thank you all for hanging in there and spending the afternoon with us. And we'll be contacting people for the auction winners and the getting the trivia prizes out.
It's always hard to go home from a good party. But since we're already home, it's a little easier, but the time really is up for our party, unless anyone has any parting comments.
Words.
I think it's a happy birthday. It's a wrap.
We could all sing happy birthday together. But then, I don't know. We can't top Ken, so
No,
I think, yeah.
Nice
Night
girl has
all.
sung.
Thank you so much, Susan and Howie, so much for what you've created. Thank you.
Thank you, Elisa.
Thanks, all of you.
Night,
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you each.
Good night.
Good night.
Happy birthday
Signing
to
off.
all of
Happy
you.
birthday.
We're
Happy
all 20.
birthday.
It's great to be
Good to
20
see
again.
everybody.
Thank you.